Hugo Ekitike, a Liverpool player, Alexander Isak, still linked to Liverpool, and he wants out. This is Red Minded. I am Jay the Activist. Let's talk about it. Alright, let's get the obvious news out the way. Hugo Ekitike, Liverpool player. £69 million up front, £10 million in a potential add-on, 6-year deal. He's already with the squad in preseason. Saw him standing next to Ibrahim Kanate. He looks much taller than the 6'2" that they have advertised. He looks much closer to 6'3", 6'4". Honestly, he looks pretty close to Virgil. He might be one of the tall. He's definitely one of the tallest players in the teams already. But let's talk about what he is as a player, what he brings to Liverpool, and why the stat nerds really like him. All right, so I look at Hugo Ekitike. 22 goals, 12 assists across all comps, 48 games last year in the Bundesliga, Europa League, and the DFB Pokal. All right, that doesn't sound like that's not a world-class striker. Doesn't help that his conversion rate wasn't the highest last year. But what's interesting about Hugo Ekitike is he was a high volume shooter, especially after Omar Marmoush left for Eintracht, not for Eintracht. He left to Manchester City last January. Took 117 shots, which is more than Isak, Šeško, obviously Nunez because he didn't play as many minutes, and what's the striker that plays for Atalanta? Matteo Retegui, who I think is very underrated, but let's not talk about Matteo Retegui right now. What he brings to the team is a lot of what Bobby Firmino did. He's a link-up striker. He can play off. Bobby couldn't play off the left, but he can play off the left as well. He's great moving on and off the ball. He doesn't run offside a lot. But one thing that I've heard as a major concern from a lot of our fans is his finishing isn't the best, which statistically is true. I mean, 12% conversion on 117 shots. That kind of explains the low conversion rate. When I look at the film and the tape of Hugo Ekitike, the biggest problem is he takes a lot of bonehead, stupid shots. And these are shots that I just do not think he would have to take at Liverpool. His IQ is very high, much higher than, like, say, a Darwin Nunez. I don't think his finishing technique is poor, necessarily. And that actually shows up in his big chances conversion rate. 56% last season. 56% of his big chances he converted, which is a massive number. Which means to me, he needs to get more opportunities to finish big chances, but he will get those opportunities playing with Mohamed Salah and Florian Wirtz. These are things I'm not concerned about going forward. People talk about his XG underperformance. I don't necessarily see that as a negative. That just tells me XG is not necessarily a measure of the quality. It's about the quality of chances, right? That's what it is. I mean, he should have had 21.6 goals. But if you take 117 shots, all those add up, right? You're taking a lot of shots outside the box. You're taking shots from crazy angles. You know, you feel like the team has to be on your back, right? And so all those add up. Those 0.1 XG shots, they add up to the 21.6 that he had last year. So when you keep that in mind, right? And if I were to compare him to somebody like Brian Mbeumo, right? Brian Mbeumo, his XG was like 12.8 if I'm not mistaken. 12.8 just tells me that's right around where Brian Mbeumo normally would be. And Brian Mbeumo was pretty fortunate to score 20 goals in the Premier League last year. And I rate Brian Mbeumo. I think he's going to be a good player for Man United. Well, I hope he's not, but I think he's going to be. Bottom line, I think he's going to play a lot more than people think he will. I'm going to get into that in just a second. but I can see him scoring easily 20 goals in the league if he was the main man. But I don't know if he will be the main man because I need to get into this next bit of news. Alexander Isak has been heavily linked to Liverpool still, despite us signing Hugo Ekitike for almost potentially 80 plus mil. Newcastle are adamant they're not selling. The player has requested out. He does not want to be at Newcastle anymore. He wants the Liverpool move. That's what the ever reliable Fabrizio Romano has reported. David Ornstein hasn't been that vocal about it, but this seems like something that has real legs and can really go somewhere. We'll find out more in the next few hours, I'm sure, if we haven't already by the time this video is posted. Um, I would just say wait and see. I think there's a 75% chance we do get him, but I'm not 100% sure he comes this window. I think there's a chance Newcastle might try to strong arm us and be stubborn and kind of like what Southampton did to us with Virgil van Dijk, and we might have to get him in January. But even still, I want Alexander Isak at my club. At first, I wasn't as on board, but the more that I've thought about it, the more I've thought about tactics. I can see how it can work. Unfortunately, we did lose Diogo Jota to a unimaginable tragedy. It still gets to me to this day. I know it hasn't been that long, but it's just he was so young, and rest in peace, Diogo Jota. But we do need another striker because Darwin Nunez, he has to go. He's not good enough. I don't think he's ever gonna be good enough for Liverpool, and he has to find a new club. And so we literally did not have a striker that's gonna be on the team for next season. We did not have a striker that was going to be on the team next season, so we actually did have to sign another. We did need 2 strikers. We only had 3 attackers because, as we all know, Luis Diaz has been heavily linked away from a move from Liverpool. Thus, we need more depth. Hugo Ekitike can play off the left. I don't know if he's primarily a left winger, but I'll talk about that when I pull out my tactics board. But Newcastle, they want about 150 million pound, which is insane. One of the most expensive transfers of all time. Liverpool only want to offer 120 million right now. I think we'll go up from there. I think we'll probably get to about 135 million pound. That's where I see us going. Last season, Isak had 27 goals in all competitions. He scored against us in the cup final, unfortunately. And that's where everybody gets the celebration that he does, which is he's such a cold finisher. Like, he's very clinical. He presses well with both feet. I worry about his injuries, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So if I compare the two, which I don't think that there needs to be a comparison against the two, I think they will probably play a lot more together than people think they will. So XG per 90, identical. 0.66, believe it or not. They have the exact same. Dribbles per 90. Ekitike adds 1.6 dribbles per 90. Isak 1.2 dribbles per 90. Aerial duels. Ekitike is actually much better in the air. He wins much more of his headers. 46.2% as opposed to 32.1% for Isak. Isak is not the greatest aerial threat despite what people think. And the big chance conversion rate. Ekitike 56%. Isak absolute gunman. Pow, 61% of his big chances he's converting. They both complete about the same amount of passes per game, 22.5 for Ekitike, 23 for Isak, basically the same. Now look at the tactics board. Pardon me, because I don't know where this magnet went. This is Allison though. We have Frimpong. This is out of possession. This is how I can see it working. Out of possession, we have Isak here, Ekitike there, Salah here. We have Grav here, McAllister there, Florian Wirtz there. Perkez, Van Dijk, Kanate, Frimpong or Bradley, depending on the game. This is out of possession. This is how I would see us defending. I mean, this is how I see us defending for most of the game. In possession, I see it becoming more like this. Isak's there. Mo goes to his favorite position. Vert slides in there. And that's how we will play in possession. Let's make sure that makes sense. In possession. That's how I see it. That's if they play together. So I don't think it'll be a straight 4-4-2 defensively. I think it will be a 4-4-2 if they were to play together defensively, but I don't see it being that way. Offensively, it'd be more like a 4-2-1-3, in my opinion. That's how I see it. In possession. Defensively, I don't think you can play that way in the Prem. You'll kind of get ran through. Like, let me not get demonetized in my first video. But that's how I see them setting up. We'll have to see what happens with Luis Diaz. We still have Cody Gakpo. I don't know what we're going to do about the left wing position or if Salah's going to get any cover. Because I think Harvey Elliott's on the way out. I think Ben Doak's on the way out. Rio's not going anywhere, but I trust Rio, but I don't think the rest of the fan base will trust Rio to be a backup. It's a big ask for a 17-year-old. It's a literal child. Kids don't win much, but I think that I want this to happen. It's not unrealistic. Liverpool really want him. The question is, how stubborn is Newcastle? If Newcastle are stubborn, I think they can hold him till January at the most. But Liverpool still have to get covered for the left wing regardless because Luis Diaz is on his way out. We cannot go into the season with so few attackers. I know people can say Florian Wirtz can play off the left, but that's not his best position. So, we'll see. This was Jay the Activist. This is Red Minded. And have a lovely day, people. Peace.